It's the Sean Widmer Podcast. It's a journal by someone that just really doesn't like to write.
It's a fresh week of recording podcasts for me. Man, it doesn't matter for you because you may be listening to this way off in the future. But I hope if you are listening to these as they get released, I hope your weekend was good. If you have been following the drama of the black eye, I have now, it's going away slowly. I'm recording this on a Sunday night. It's March the 3rd. And I've been told now by multiple people that this is not just a black eye, that I have a broken orbital bone. So there you go. That's what we're dealing with. But it's getting better. The swelling, the black eye-ness is going away. I've just got the pocket underneath my eye. For those of you who aren't watching, who are just listening on podcast services, the way that this podcast originated. But for those of you who have added it on YouTube, I do appreciate it. And the people who are commenting, liking, subscribing, thank you for that. Today on the podcast, we've got a heavy TV conversation. I'm going to talk about two television shows at the end of the podcast today that I watched this weekend and some thoughts on them. So that's coming up here at the end of the podcast. Two things for you to start with. Happy March Madness. March is here, and I'm a big college basketball fan, bigger NBA fan, but a big just basketball fan. And it's been nice. The Gonzaga Bulldogs near and dear to my heart. The Eastern Washington Eagles. You can see the Eagles chair that I won at the 2004 Eastern Eagles Selection Sunday gathering, a team that was celebrated this last weekend in Cheney as Eastern clinched the sole Big Sky regular season champion mark for a second straight year in the row. They're Big Sky champion. Did those words come out right? I don't think they did. Anyways, I was in school at that time. Mark Axton and the boys beat Northern Arizona in the Big Sky tournament in Cheney. I went to the Selection Sunday show a week later, and they did a raffle for everyone who came in, and I won this chair that's behind me there. It is a bench chair from the 2004 Eastern Eagles season, so it's a very valuable chair to me. It used to have all the guys' signatures on it. They've all worn off because I used to use the chair at my computer. I just love it. I love the Eagles. So they won this weekend, and they go to the Big Sky tournament now, trying to get into March Madness. Gonzaga had a big win over the weekend, beating St. Mary's. They're in. Gonzaga's in, which is great. They'll be in the tournament. Now, I wanted to bring something up real quick because I think it's important to bring up for the Gonzaga haters, which there's plenty of out there. It is important right now what Gonzaga is doing, where the beginning of the season was rough, and now the end of the season they're catching fire a little bit, and they're on a big winning streak. That's important because it matters in the tournament. And if you don't believe me, look at this is going to be quick basketball talk. Look at the 5-12. It's always a matchup people bring up for upsets. People always picking the 12 seed. The 12 seed is normally a smaller school that won their conference tournament and got into the tournament that way. So they're a really good, smaller conference team going up against a bigger school that did not win their conference tournament but had a good regular season overall. You'll see a lot of times when you look at that, one of the teams is on a big winning streak. The 12 seed is on a winning streak. Now, this is not every time, but a lot of the times that 12 seed has won the last couple games of the regular season, and they won all the games in their conference tournament. The win streak matters. Into the season streaks matter. You're clicking. The momentum is there. Meanwhile, a lot of times the 5 seed, they're a great team. They've had a great regular season, but maybe they lost some at the end of the season, and they definitely lost their last game of the season in the conference tournament in, the quarterfinals, semifinals, and or maybe even the finals, and they fell to a 5 seed. So I've always been a believer that momentum at the end of the season matters. Eastern's got it right now with a couple of really big wins. They've got another one coming up to wrap the season up, I think Tuesday. And then Gonzaga, they're on a nice little winning streak. So it matters. Okay, real quickly, I have a question for all of you homeowners out there. We've got our house. We moved into this house at the beginning of the year, and we love it. We got our January electricity bill, and it was kind of what we expected it to be. We just got our February one, and it was double the January one. Double. Insane amount of electricity bill that came through the Widmer home. And I'm terrified about something And here's why I bring it up. I was looking through like what changed in our house between January and February. We weren't using the heating and air conditioning more. In fact, it was getting better weather over the last month, and we were able to even like open the windows and just let the house cool down and heat up with the windows and the sun, the beauty of the sun. So I'm like trying to figure that out. And one thing has changed. And so parents out there who have gone through this, let me know. We have switched in the Widmer house in the month of February from sweet little kid, cute baths to showers. That's been the change. That's been like our big change when I look through everything, but I don't know if that affects it. So I ask you, could that change it? Because it's been weird. Like we went from that moment where your kids are in the bath and they're super cute and you're snapping all those pictures where their heads are just above the border of the bathtub and they've got the bubbles on their hair and everything's cute and sweet. And your biggest concern at that time is them splashing too much water out for you to clean up after the bath is done. And now we've transitioned to my daughter wanting to be in the showers, which of course my 2-year-old son has followed her because he follows her everywhere. And now my biggest concern is my daughter consistently bodying my son in the shower and TKOing him, where of course his feet are slipping and sliding everywhere. He's not the most coordinated dude. And now we're just trying to fight against head injuries in the shower. So that's like how that has changed. It's gone from a fun time to an extremely stressful time of the day. But my daughter could stay in that shower she could stand there for 30 minutes. And at that point of the night, it's like we get Huck in, clean him up, and then I can do all of Huck's bedtime stuff while Olivia, I can hear her just singing, playing with toys, lining toys up, giving him the business. She does the thing where she is the toys parents. And so she's the toys parents, and you get to kind of realize what she thinks of you as a parent by how she treats the toys in the shower. And that's a real eye-opening moment where you go, ooh, we had a rough day today. We had a rough parenting day today because those toys should not be getting in that much trouble for the little bit they're doing, but I know that's probably a direct reflection. And then some days she gets the toys and she's like, I love you toys so much. What do you toys want? Do you toys want ice cream for every meal? Do you guys want ice cream for every meal? You can have it. And I'm like, we had a good day today. We parented well today in this house. So we can judge your parenting based on how my daughter treats her toys in the shower. But can the shower going for 30 minutes of hot water, is that going to double my electric bill? Maybe. That's why I ask it. Okay, we're getting into it right now. I know it's early in the podcast, but
Kelly's, what are you into?
I want to talk television. I want to talk TV shows. I had a rare moment over the weekend. Rare. In fact, I was looking back. I was trying to remember in my life when this has happened. And I could really only remember one time. And I know it's happened other times. I'm just struggling to remember what it would have been. But I can remember one time vividly where I binged watched a TV show. And it would have to be all the way back to like 2005. And it was with Preston, my buddy Preston. And we watched 24 season, it was either 2 or 3. I don't remember what it was. 24 season 2 or 3 on DVD in one sitting. We started it in the afternoon and we watched it straight through the night into the next day. Probably 17 hours straight of television. And we binge watched all of season 2 of 24 in one sitting. And I remember thinking that was really cool. And it was the only time I had ever done that I can remember. I know there has to be another one, but that I can remember. That's the only time I've binge watched an entire season of a television show. A lot of other times, it'll be something where I can binge a couple episodes, but then I've caught up and now I have to wait until the show releases more episodes. Or the season was out and I watched as many as I could, but then I was tired and had to continue to watch later on. Well, on Friday night, I finally wanted to watch a show that I had heard about for many years. I think Darnay might have been the first one to mention it to me a long time ago. Then the show won a bunch of awards, and I wanted to watch a couple episodes just to see what it was. And that show is The Bear. And it's on Hulu. It's on FX on Hulu. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch I looked at the clock. It's 9 o'clock. I'm going to watch 2 episodes of The Bear, and I'm going to see what it's all about and see if it's something that I want to spend and pour some time into. At 2 o'clock in the morning, when I panicked looking at my clock going, oh crap, Huck's up in 4 hours, I'd watched all 8 episodes of season 1, and I'd binged the whole season and freaking loved it. I'm almost done with season 2. I took Saturday night late to watch season 2, and this show is amazing. Obviously, I'm not coming out here with a new, fresh, hot take on it because it's won a lot of awards. It's been talked about a ton. Season 3 is coming out. It's very hyped. But if you have not watched The Bear, I want to throw my recommendation in the hat because I think it's not only a great show, it's one of the best TV shows I've ever watched in my life. There's a lot of reasons for that. I love the length of the episodes, 27 minutes for the most part for 8 episodes of season 1. So it's not the biggest commitment in the world. And I like these shorter episodes that just are no nonsense, no filler. Everything is to the point. And the show is very different, and it's kind of hard to explain. And it's hard to explain because you don't want to spoil anything about it. But it's a weird one when you hear the description. You go, why would I be interested in that? You've got a guy who's the main character who is one of the best chefs in the world. He's a chef at the #1 restaurant in the world in Copenhagen. And his family has a restaurant in Chicago that is going under and needs help. And so Carmen goes back to Chicago where his family is, and his goal is to bring this restaurant to life and save this restaurant. And that's it. And that's like the premise of it. And it's kind of like, well, that doesn't sound, I don't know about restaurant stuff. I'm telling you, it is a magical show. And I want to give you a couple reasons why I think it's so special outside of just the time of it. It's a very interesting genre. And I was talking to Darnay about it today. I didn't realize this show was winning awards for best comedy. I never would have put this show in the comedy category. I would have assumed it's a drama. Very stressful, very intense show. A lot of the show is based on needing to get things done by a certain time, and that clock is ticking every episode, and you can feel the clock ticking every episode. Got to get stuff done, and so you're in that high energy, high intensity. Your blood pressure's up a little bit, and it's really get you with stuff you never thought you'd be interested in. So that part's kind of fun, but it is funny. It has funny moments because they need to take breaks from all the intensity, and they hit you with some good jokes and some good comedic relief, and it's great. So I love how the genre is. I love what they're doing, where they're mixing some formats, some dark comedy, high intensity. But this show has ridiculously amazing characters, and I brought up a comparison. I was talking to Darnay about this. Whether go check out Darnay Trip. Go follow him on TikTok and go follow him on TikTok. I think it's Darnay Trip NBC7, something like that. Go follow him on TikTok. He needs to be making more TikToks. Anyways, we were talking about the show, and I was mentioning how, to me, one of the best shows of all time is Ted Lasso. And I think this show has more lovable characters than Ted Lasso has. Where Ted Lasso, for me, had Ted, lovable, Roy, Jamie. I was into those guys' arcs. I didn't care for Rebecca. Didn't care for Keely. Didn't care for Sam. And I just didn't really care for a lot. Was it Danny? I didn't really care for a lot of the other people. I cared for those 3. And this show, in The Bear, I'm completely invested in every single character. And so when they do an episode, one specific episode on a character, like I didn't care about Coach Beard in Ted Lasso. He didn't do anything for me. So when they spent a whole episode on him, it was a waste. If they do an episode on a character in The Bear, I'm so invested in that character. That episode is so great. And it's touching and it's emotional. And you're cheering for people. And I found myself loving these characters so much. I did something that I had not done since Ted Lasso, which was something would happen to a character. And I stood up off the couch 1 o'clock in the morning and fist pumped. Hit the fist pump, hit the hand clap. I'm like, let's go, let's go. I was so excited for these characters. And I want to give this show credit. One of the other things I really like about The Bear is the fact that it is very high intensity drama. There's a lot of shows like that, but it gives you happiness. They find ways to fill your cup when you're just like, oh my gosh, they're in another one. They fill your cup, but not just in a way of like, we're going to fill it, but then we're going to take it away. Like fill that cup and leave that cup full for you. And so you get to be happy about something and you get to stay happy about that. And I think that's really cool and very unique. The other thing they did that I thought was super interesting and was great for me, at the end of season 1, I don't want to spoil anything, so I don't really want to spoil anything. But at the end of season 1, they didn't leave you with a cliffhanger that was devastating towards season 2. And the way I bring that up is, let's go Ted Lasso. Nate is the villain at the end of season 2. Nate's the villain, and then the show is done. And you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to know what's going to happen because you left me with like a negative cliffhanger, just a negative ending to the season, and I got to figure out what's happening. You know, maybe you'll get an episode where someone gets shot at the end of the season, and you're like, oh my gosh, next season's got to get here quick. I got to find out if they're dead or not. And it's like negative energy going into the next season. The Bear ended season 1, and I didn't have that. But yet I was dying to get my eyes on season 2. So I thought that was really cool. Anyways, this is a long time telling you about The Bear, but I want people to watch it who haven't. And if you have watched it, I would love to talk to you about it. So hit me up, text me, hit me up on Instagram, Sean T. Widmer. And I'm at that point where since I'm just finishing up season 2, I'm in that mode of wanting to talk about a show that I just watched. I love it. Richie, I'm trying to figure out who my favorite character is right now. It might be Richie. Carmi's great though. I don't want to say too much about it because I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't watched it. It's a great show. The other show I watched, trying to figure out where I fall on it, Deal or No Deal Island. I mentioned this a while ago that this was coming out and it was a show I was going to be interested in. Deal or No Deal Island. I watched the first episode. The first episode's the only one out so far. And it was good. I'm trying to figure out if it's good or great. And the premise is this. They've got a handful of people on this island. Some people from former TV shows. One of the gals was a former case holder on Deal or No Deal. Boston Rob from Survivor's on there. I'm trying to remember who else is on there who's famous. There was someone else, and I forget who the heck it was. Anyways, there's a lot of just normal folks on it as well. The majority of people are just normal folk. And the way the game works is, it seems like, at least after one episode, you do a challenge during the episode where a ton of cases are, in the first one, a ton of cases are scattered throughout this big mud pit that's hard to get through. And your goal is to go in, grab a case, get your case to this deck, and try to have the highest value of the case. One of the cases has $1 million in it, and then the rest of them go down from there. And the way it's tough. The way the game works is, if you come back to the finish line or whatever the contest is, if you have the lowest case value, the two lowest case values, you are up for elimination from the show. And the person with the highest case value chooses one of the two people who are at the bottom to go head-to-head against the banker from Deal or No Deal, to go ahead in a game of Deal or No Deal, where if you lose to the banker, you're out of the show. If you beat the banker, you then are safe, and the other lowest, you are safe and get to pick anyone you want to be out of the show. Crazy. And the way the game works at the end, it's kind of convoluted, but Deal or No Deal, we all know how the game works. There's a lot of big numbers. There's a lot of small numbers. All the big cases that the cast gets during the episode go on the right side of the board, and on the left side of the board, there's a bunch of little tiny cases, a penny, $1, $10, $100. And like I said, the two lowest people are up for elimination. The person with the highest number chooses one to play Deal or No Deal. And what they do is they play a regular old game of Deal or No Deal. The top cases that you got during the day are there. The lowest cases are there. You're playing through it. And at any point when you are You pick your cases. The banker offers you a deal. And they say, look, would you take $45,000 as your deal? As the contestant, you have to say yes or no. If you say, I will take the deal, the way you get eliminated is they open your case. If your case is higher, the number on your case is higher than the deal offered, you're out. You made a bad deal. If your case is lower, you made a good deal. You stay on the show and you pick out anyone else who's left on the cast besides the person who got the most money that round, but who have found the biggest case. And you get to eliminate someone. Just you by yourself. You get to point to someone and say, you're out of the show. And so this is how it works. And that's a cool concept. The problem is, with Deal or No Deal, you have your case. You don't know how much money's in there. And you're picking, you pick your 8 cases. And they show you what case values are left on the board. And the banker offers you a number directly every time, directly in the middle of all the cases. So if there's 6 cases left, he's going to offer you a number directly in the middle. So no matter what, there's not a ton of strategy because every time if it's like, look, if you want to try to make a deal, you're just guessing a 50-50 guess pretty much the whole way through on is your case a low number or a high number? And that's what it is. Anyways, that's convoluted. I don't think I explained it super well, but I hope I explained it well enough. I'm going to watch the full season because I'm interested in it and I love Deal or No Deal. I just don't know how much strategy is in it yet. As a reality TV show lover, I'm not sure the strategy yet. But we'll, as the season goes on, I'll report back on it. Even though I'm sure you just listen to this and goes, please don't report back. All right, let's get to the comments today. I've got a couple off of the website, Sean'sLife.com. You can comment if you're listening on Spotify on today's episode. You can comment on the Q&A section at the bottom of today's episode's podcast. You can also go to YouTube, comment there. Let's go to YouTube first. I will say Roberta left me a really nice message on YouTube on how to make slime. And I'm not going to read it all, but I think I'm going to try it, Roberta. I think I'm going to try it. And always good to hear from you. Colin said this on YouTube. He said, I've been a Jay and Kevin listener from almost the beginning, but not much lately. Love the pod. You're my go-to for my elliptical workouts. Referring to your comment replies, I'm a bird guy too, but Larry. Okay. Fine. That's funny. Ha ha ha. Or no, he said, finally. Okay, look at this. Finally, Deal or No Deal Island might be legit. Keep up the good work. Love the show. Dude, Colin, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for listening. On the elliptical. Get it done. I'm going to try to get you to 25 minutes today on the elliptical. So burn those calories, baby. Great to hear from you, Colin. Thank you for listening. And I'm with you. Deal or No Deal might be legit. Do you agree with me, though, Colin, that it does seem very 50-50? Like there's not a lot of strategy once you're the contestant at the end, playing Deal or No Deal against the banker? I don't know. I was interested in that. Let's go to Spotify, where we've got a couple comments on the Spotify. They say this. Oh, we had a lot of sandwich. I got a lot of sandwich comments after we read the top 5 sold sandwiches in the United States last episode. Yvonne says this, my top 5 sandwiches, mainly Arby's French dip. Ooh, French dip, baby. Beef and cheddar, a pecan fruit salad, chicken Swiss bacon, Subway's chicken bacon and chicken ranch and bacon. Oh. That chicken bacon ranch at Subway is so good, Yvonne. And she said also, update on the boys. They're both back home and better. Thank goodness. Yvonne's boys had to go to the hospital. Our thoughts and prayers are out for them. They're home. Thank goodness. It's great. All right, Jared says this. Dude, number 1, slime is awesome. Number 2, burns 30 minutes easy. And Jared, you're speaking my language right now. We're looking at killing minutes, right? And then he said, number 3, $3 of product down the trash. Throw it away. Okay, so you got to get rid of the extra product. Throw it away. It will find its way stuck to your carpet or super gluing your desk to the drywall. Yeah, I don't want that. So $3 of products down the drain. $3 is not bad for this. Slime is awesome. Okay, Jared, I'm willing to try it, man. All right, and Sharon said grilled cheese at home and any kind of turkey at a restaurant. I'm so glad Jelinski is gone. I hate quitters or people who give up. Sharon, good Survivor talk. I actually just got done watching that first episode a second time with my wife, and watching it the second time, because she hadn't seen it yet. So watching it the second time, Jelinski sucked. He needed to be off the show. When I watched it the first time, I was like, ooh, is it going to be Jess? Is it going to be Jelinski? And Jelinski sucked the whole way through. He played terribly. Did not deserve to be on the show. She said, grilled cheese at home. I actually had a grilled cheese tonight. I've been living on grilled cheese. They are so good. They are so good at home. And a turkey sandwich at a restaurant, I do agree. They give you a lot of turkey normally at a restaurant. Gotta love that. We got 3 comments off of the website, shawnslife.com. We'll start with this one from Ian. The sandwich question. You've had my breakfast sandwich with the exact potatoes I make. They're so good. Ian's breakfast sandwiches are so good. He said, you've had my pulled pork for pulled pork sandwiches, which are also really good. And you've had my brisket for steak sandwiches. I don't think we put the brisket in a sandwich, Ian, but I've had the brisket, and it was freaking unreal. Ian's a ridiculously good cook. He'd be great on the bear. The only sandwiches of mine you haven't had yet is the burger. So yes, completely loaded question for me. I wish I had more time to make you a burger and a French dip. I love a French dip, baby. I would love a French dip anytime, Ian. I'm sure your French dips are awesome. I spent a lot of time trying to, because I'm never going to own a meat slicer for lunch meat. The amount of time I spent in my life trying to thinly slice meat for sandwiches, and for a while trying to do like a Mongolian style slice of meat, Mongolian grill style slice of meat, which is real thin. I've spent so much time trying to do that by hand. It's ridiculous. Why did I bring that up? I don't know. Okay, Jelly. My guy, Jelly. Jelly, what's good? Jelly said, if I'm going to a restaurant for a sandwich, I'm looking for a Philly cheesesteak or a Reuben. Okay, I'm out on Reubens, Jelly, and World. I'm out on Reubens. But, Jeremy, we together shared in enjoying... Oh, no, wait, did Jelly get something different? I was at a restaurant with you, and I got the cheesesteak before the Seahawks took on the Philadelphia Eagles Monday Night Football. We were cheering for the Seahawks, and we went against our better judgment. Thank goodness it didn't cost us. And we got Philly cheesesteaks, or we got cheesesteaks before the game at some spot in Seattle that I do not know where it is. Their cheesesteaks rocked our worlds. Now, it was also really cold outside, and these cheesesteaks were piping hot, so you can take that with you, but it was so freaking good. None of this matters because I don't remember the name of the place, but it's in downtown Seattle. So go downtown Seattle and start eating cheesesteaks and cheesecakes, and you'll find one of them, each one that you're going to love. Reubens are terrible, though, Jelly. Curdy says this, I audibly gasped when you said you didn't like BLTs. But justice for tuna. I love tuna sandwiches so much. Okay, Curdy, I didn't give love to tuna fish sandwiches, which I think are great. If you can make a really good tuna fish salad, is that what it is? Tuna salad? I don't remember what it's called. You get enough mayo in there, a little bit of relish to go in. I love a tuna fish sandwich. But I adore an egg salad sandwich. And I didn't bring that up last episode. I don't know that, and probably because I don't know that I've ever ordered an egg salad sandwich at a restaurant or a tuna fish sandwich at a restaurant, but I have had a tuna melt at a restaurant, and they're so bomb. So, Curdy, thank you for reminding me. And BLTs stink. BLTs stink. They don't stink. BLTs just aren't great. They're good. If someone invites me over and we have BLTs, I'm going to be happy. I just won't be as happy if they had made me a lot of other sandwiches. All right, thanks for tuning in today. I do appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who's sharing the podcast. Thank you if you're going on and you're seeing the little videos that I'm spamming out there on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook. I went back into Facebook to do this, to just spam people with these little reels. If you're sharing those, thank you so much. That means a ton to me. So thank you for that as we try to grow the podcast in 2024. Okay, thank you for listening. Go watch The Bear. Go freaking watch The Bear. And then hit me up on Instagram, Sean T. Widmer. I want to talk to people about it. Thank you.